very important that the artists know in what senses the character are going to be portrayed. What is the frames going to look like? Because that is factored in as you go through the conceptualization period of how these characters are presented. So as you can see, you know, some of where we came from. The beta cards, Untamed, and then eventually Chaos Legion. And you'll notice that from one generation to the next, we try as much as possible to start getting out of the way. So Untamed, we got a little nuts. And then when we moved to Chaos Legion, we kind of like toned it back a little bit. We said, well, you know what? Let's try to let the artwork breathe a little bit. Let's try to go ahead and instead of making the frame the main event, let's go ahead and just be supportive of the character art, because that's the cool part, right? The character. So when we were looking at visualizing and conceptualizing what Rebellion would look like, I want you to first keep in mind that what we're about to show you is concepts. You know, I can't guarantee that this is where we're going to end up, but I will say that as we're discussing internally with the creative team, I don't know, we feel pretty good about it. So let's take a look at the new and improved card frame we're hoping to implement into the game. So there you go. Hopefully you guys, you know, feel as awesome about it as we do. Essentially what you're looking at is a redesigned card frame that really puts the artwork front and center. It allows us to really look at the character and go, wow, I'm not looking at the characters through some small little window. Instead, they're allowed to come to life. And if you could imagine them animated, that would be freaking cool. Something that I've always thought we should do, which I don't know.
That's
maybe
awesome.
Maybe it'll get done, maybe it won't, but I always thought that it would be cool to visually represent where you're at in the progression of the character's levels, right? Because some new players are like, wait a minute, this rarity can go up to 4 levels, but this other one goes up to 10 levels. How do you're trying to wrap your brain around it, right? Where are they at? Is a level 4 good or bad? Well, it depends on the rarity. So hopefully we're trying to figure out ways, well, you know, maybe this is one way that we can kind of portray the progression of different cards and how they look. But what do you guys think?
Woo!
Well, yeah.
You guys like it? Come on, we can do better than that. You guys like the new card frames?
Yeah.
Yeah!
That's what we want to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to hear a mighty Vonak.
Vonak!
There we go. All right, so it's not just about the standard foil. And you'll notice before we go on, let's stay there for a sec.
Dude, those are awesome.
You'll notice that there's all kinds of little intricate details that we kind of put into it. Woo. For instance, some of you guys have expressed, well, I'm colorblind, Nate. How do I know what the freaking rarity is? I can't tell if that's a gold gem or a blue gem. So we went ahead and you'll notice that the gem at the top of the card frame allows accessibility, where you can say, oh, okay, I see now. That gem looks different than the other gem. That's a common card, or that's a legendary card. When it comes to foil, you'll be like, well, Nate, there's not much room to show if it's a gold foil or not. Well, I don't know. I think our team did an amazing job in designing gold foil. Let's take a look at that. So you'll notice the frame gets a little more intricate. It looks a lot cooler, I think. All the little flares and glimmers and shimmers of the gold. So that's pretty cool, but we don't stop there. It's not just about the card frame. Let's take it back to the character art. Something that has been asked repeatedly from one town hall to the next, over and over and over again, is like, hey, what about skins? So what we're doing, hopefully, is what we're attempting to do is we're looking at the pipeline production of the character art and saying, well, look, while we're designing the characters, what can we do to integrate more options when it comes to how these characters are presented? What if maybe there's a voucher store where you can buy skins with vouchers, and yet when you go to the battle screen, you can still tell who the character is? Because that's always been an issue to me as we get closer to the land and item and spellcrafting adds to another stage to battle. You got to be able to look at the battlefield and see what the characters are. Otherwise, as the timer's ticking away, you might get frustrated. You might say, well, crap, I don't have a whole lot of time to figure out what that enemy team is, and they all look weird. I don't know what those characters are, and I gotta hover over them and figure out, oh, that's that character. Well, with the new way we want to implement skins, it becomes possible to go ahead and show the characters in a different light while still saying, oh, I know what character that is. So let's take a look at some different variations that you might see. So basically it allows us to go ahead and customize our characters how we want them to look, and yet we still get the functionality. We get that it doesn't affect the game mechanics, and we still maintain a cohesive and consistent
That's pretty
style,
awesome.
Throughout the game. So speaking of our art style and what we're doing, and like I said before,
so on these slides, on the top right, if you guys notice underneath the element, those are you're gonna have classes, factions. Now keep in mind all this is subject to change and under development, but these are synergies that we're looking to introduce. Maybe if you have classes that are the same, or factions that are the same, or whatever, or tags. Tags would be like Dampier or Vampire, or maybe a Lycanthrope or whatever. All that is gonna play a part.
So we will. You're definitely going to want to listen to the next creative panel, entering criteria, for us to dig into the weeds on what those little symbols mean. But I will say this, the narrative team has gone through great extent to try to separate the meaning behind what's a splinter and what's a magical element. If you guys might have noticed, if you're OGs, you still call them all splinters. But for those of you who are new to the game, it never said splinters on the UI. It always said element, because that's what it says. When you go build a team, it says element. It doesn't say splinters. And the reason for that is we are trying to distinguish, well, what is a splinter? It might be a geopolitical faction. It might be a member of the Uloth Orc tribe. It might be, splinters may take on a completely different meaning. And keep in mind, this is all conceptual. None of this is, we're not announcing this is how it's going to be, but these are ideas that we'd love to hear your feedback on. So if we did split up magic from the factions, and we said, okay, these are magical elements and these are splinters, and then we go ahead and allow different synergies. I mean, can you imagine making a whole team of orcs from the Uloth tribe and unlocking special synergies or special abilities and stuff like that? I mean, that would be freaking cool, right? So, those are ideas that we're contemplating and thinking about, and imagine what kind of level that's going to take us in gameplay. It really opens things up.
Thanks for watching. Here's a couple of videos for you to check out, and of course,
hit that like button and that subscribe button right next to it.
we appreciate you all.
We're having a good time.